If you want to look great on camera, you need soft, flattering light, and usually that means setting up a big softbox. But if you're recording or live streaming from a desk, chances are you just don't have that much space. And that's the exact problem I've had for years. I've tried all kinds of setups and they were either too bulky or not soft enough. That is until I tried these. This is the Amaran Verge and Verge Max, and they are total game changers. What makes them so unique is they give you the same soft light you expect from a traditional softbox, but in a ridiculously thin, desk-friendly design. So in this video, I'm gonna walk you through everything you need to know about these lights and how they completely transformed my desk setup.
You gotta just press record.
Now, Amaran was kind enough to send over these lights and sponsor this video, but before you rush to the comments to tell me I'm a sellout, I went out and purchased my own Verge Max because I genuinely love these lights and I even plan to build more setups revolving these lights. Let's start off with a quick overview over each light, starting off with the Amaran Verge. This is the smaller rectangular shaped LED panel. What's really cool about this light is there's actually this diffusion over this layer, so it actually really gives you a nice soft look, even though it is a relatively small light. It also has the front-facing controls, so you can easily dial in your exposure just by reaching up and adjusting it, which is super cool. You also notice that there is a color temperature knob as well, so you can warm up and cool down your light. So you have plenty of flexibility with the controls on the light itself. In terms of the brightness, the Amaran Verge has 26 watts of power, which is actually quite a bit for a desk setup. If you get the light pretty close to you, this is plenty of brightness. I actually have it set to 3% brightness. So really, you don't need to go up to 100%, although it is nice if you do need to have that flexibility. Price point for the Amaran Verge costs $79, and when you compare it to the competition, it's actually quite competitive. Now you will need to figure out how to mount your light to your desk because it does not come with a stand. Fortunately, you can mount just about any light stand or tripod to the light thanks to its tripod mount on the bottom, but I'll leave a link to some of our favorite options in the description down below. If you want, Amaran does sell this desk stand, which is actually quite nice. There's plenty of height adjustment. You can articulate the light and it has this nice wide base, so that way it won't wobble on you. It even comes with a little clip that you can use to hide your cord behind the stand. So it's really nice for desk setups where you want it to look really sleek. Or you could also mount this through the Verge lock mounting system, which is actually what I'm doing right now. And this is really cool because you have the ability to kind of adjust it, tilt it on the fly. So you have that additional flexibility, which is super cool. Overall, I do think that the Amaran Verge light is great for streamers, casual creators, or anyone who is looking to build out a desk recording setup for YouTube and is in a small space. This is a great light to pick up and you have pretty decent lighting while being on a budget. Now turning our attention to the Verge Max, this behemoth of an LED panel. This is a large 22-inch circular panel, which mimics a lot of smaller softboxes, but of course the advantage is you don't nearly need as much depth. This larger source of light has a couple different benefits. Number one, it has a much brighter output, which we'll touch on in a second. And number two is you're gonna get a softer quality of light. So as you can see in this image right here, I'm being lit with the Amaran Verge Max. And honestly, this level of softness is nearly perfect for most people's setups. It's really nice and easy on the eyes, and it's going to help smooth out some of those harsh shadows. And if you have wrinkles or pores, it's going to kind of help mask some of those. Everyone has pores technically. With this bigger panel, we're going to get much more output, a total of 60 watts. Now, I just gotta admit, 60 watts of power for a studio use is intense. This light right now, I'm shooting with it set to 4% brightness. And this is honestly way too much power for my needs. But the advantage is if you want to use this light for different methods, or you really do need a lot of light, it is nice that you have the flexibility if you need to brighten things up. You have the same front-facing controls, although on the Verge Max, there is a little LED display, so you can easily see where you are in terms of the brightness as well as the color temperature. Now, the Amaran Verge Max does come with its own desk clamp stand, so this slides onto your desk, you can tighten it up, and there are two different height adjustments. You can just screw on the extension if you need a little bit more height. This is nice to get it above your monitor and get it in the right angle. Then you can slide on this little arm with the Verge lock mount. You can just slide on the Verge Max, clicks into place, and this allows you to articulate the light to your different needs, which is just so nice that you have that flexibility. You don't have to go around and unloosen, retighten, and no, this is just so easy. You can just pull it out and adjust it to your needs. Now, both of these lights are powered through USB-C, so as long as you have a 30 watt and 65 watt brick to power this light, you could just pick that up. Or you could potentially battery power each of these lights with a V-mount battery, and I just might play around with that idea in another video. Price point for the Verge Max is $260, but that does include the desk stand and the articulating arm. But if you wanted to get a similar look, you would easily spend over $300 trying to get a similar look, although with much more bulk. So for the price and for what it can do, I think it's a pretty good deal. Now, between these two lights, the Verge Max is definitely going to give you a better, more softer look. And I think this is definitely going to be better for those full-time content creators or someone who is constantly from their desk, live streaming, doing Zoom calls, or even recording videos from their desk. Okay, so I want to show you how you might use the Amaran Verge and Verge Max for your desk setup. So right now I have my camera recording, have the teleprompter up front so I can read my script, but right above it I have the Amaran Verge Max. This is giving me plenty of soft lighting, but the cool thing about this light is if I want to adjust the brightness, all I gotta do is reach up and just change it. So I went to 9% brightness. So you can see this thing is pretty darn bright, and I can bring it back down to 4%, which I was at before. And then I also have the ability to warm it up and cool it down. So depending on your lighting setup, or if you're in a different environment, let's say you have warmer lights on, you can kind of match to that. But not only that, if you want to adjust the position of the light, it's very easy just to grab it and move it around thanks to the Verge Max lock mount. This little articulating arm on the back makes it really easy just to move it and get it out of the way if you want. I'm not going to move it too much since I'm using it to light this video. The other way you can control these lights is with the Amaran app. So right here I have the app open on the desktop. There's also a mobile version if you want to check that out. But right here I can go to the Amaran Verge Max and I can turn that off. I can turn it back on. I can also adjust the color temperature and the brightness from here as well. But the cool thing is if you want to pair this with a Stream Deck, you can actually set up all your lights to power on and off with a button press. So anytime I'm getting ready for a Zoom call, live stream, or just even record a video, all I gotta do is reach down here and press one button and I'm ready to go within seconds. One thing I forgot to mention is that both of these lights are what it's called RGO certified eye comfort. Now that's just fancy talk, but what that means is if you're gonna be hours in front of your LED lights for streaming, filming videos, this is actually going to protect your eyes from feeling like you need to blink all the time or getting tired. So this is a nice reassurance to have. We only have one set of eyes, and if you want to protect them, these lights have that official rating. So this could be a great investment if you are using cheaper lights that could potentially damage your eyes if you're using them for hours at a time. And I can attest to that because I've actually used the Verge Max for a live stream, and it was so nice being more comfortable in front of the camera and not having harsh lights pointed at you. Now, of course, a major advantage of both of these lights is that they are quite small and compact. So even if you are on a smaller space like I'm shooting in my bedroom, you can easily have these rigged up, and not only is it saving space, but it actually looks a lot better. I've tried other setups where I wanted to achieve the same level of softness, but it was actually like this big distracting thing in the corner or above my monitor, and it just wasn't an ideal solution. So I truly feel, especially with the Verge Max in particular, that this solves a critical problem for a lot of creators who want to get a soft light in a particular spot so it looks good and have the ability to easily adjust it on the go. It's so nice to have. Now, I do have a couple minor gripes with these lights. They are really, really good, but they're not quite perfect. So I want to share that with you. So my first gripe is with the Amaran Verge Max's stand. So there are two levels of height adjustment. There is the normal base, and then there's the extension rod you can use to screw on top. And that is actually better suited for monitors. However, if you are using a sit stand desk, the actual stand is quite tall, and so if you stand up, combined with the fact that I have shelves right above it, I can't actually use this to stand up at my desk setup. And I have a sit stand desk. I want to be able to stand up as I am either recording videos or even just on a Zoom call, or I need a music break so I can feel a little bit better about myself. So what I propose is, since you can just screw on another column, if Amaran could include maybe an adapter that is at a slight angle, I could actually get that center post away from that shelf mark so I could actually stand up at my desk setup. My second complaint is with these LED lights in particular, and the fact that I am in my bedroom making these videos. When I'm sleeping at night, I want it pitch black. I don't want to see anything. And these have little light indicators that ever so softly glow at night, and it feels incredibly bright at night. But anyways, I wish there was a mode where we could just have all these indicators slightly off. Because even right now, the little front screen on the Verge Max is still glowing even though nothing is being displayed. And even when you turn it off, it's still there. Now, granted, there's something that gaff tape can easily fix, but if I'm covering that screen, then what's the point of even having it, you know? So it's a small thing, and maybe that could be a software update. And this one's not a complaint at all, but I love the Amaran Verge Max, but I want to go bigger. I want a 3-footer design. That would be so cool to fully replace a softbox to get truly the same softness as some of my bigger softboxes. Now, maybe I'm a little bit niche for that, but it would be really cool to see a bigger one, as well as maybe a 2 by 3 foot. Just imagine that thing right above my monitor. That would look so sweet. And I think if they did a larger version, I would love to see a more minimal design. There are some like blue accents on the actual light itself, but for those who truly want to get a minimal look with their desks, that's very trendy, I kind of want an all black or an all white version. That would look so cool. Now, none of those are really deal breakers, but I do think they would be quite cool, and I would love to see these products get even better over time. So I want to talk about who should buy this light, and also whether or not should you just go with a more traditional chip on board LED light like an Amaran 60DS with a softbox. The benefit of going the softbox route is that, number one, you have the harsh source of light and the ability to modify that light by putting on a softbox. You can't get that with these lights. So going with something like the 60DS and a softbox is going to be much more versatile, and it's going to give you better mounting options when you are, let's say, on location. You need to use it for very different setups. But the cons is it is bulky. Even if you get the smallest softbox, you still have like a 3-foot deep setup, which is not going to be ideal if you are working from a smaller desk. But I just have to say, every time I'm shooting in the studio, I want a big soft light for my key light, my main source of light. And so having these options already just makes it a little bit more of a smaller footprint. But if you are shooting in the studio and you just want a light that you can just set it and forget it, particularly for desktop setups, the Verge and Verge Max are some of the best lights I've ever used. If you are interested in picking up either one of these lights, I'll leave a link in the description down below. And if you want to catch more lighting videos from us here at Think Media, then check out this video right here.